Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Gladiator Guild Manager by Entertainment Forge. Last time, we were able to polish off the 12th and final arena with a perfect clear, no less, and so we are going to be wrapping up this game, and I wanted to take this opportunity to give some final thoughts as to what I think about the game. So let's get back into our final episode. Alright, so we did polish off the last arena. I am going to let the game forward a little bit to see. There is some sort of. There it is. There's the victory message.
Congratulations, lad! You finished the last championship arena!
Well, thanks, Len, and look, we couldn't have done it without you.
You can continue playing if you want to finish up side quests or replay arenas, but once you're done with this playthrough, let me know, and we'll look at the results of your actions in Deadwoods.
Alright, I think I'll stay for just a little bit longer. I'll let you know. Wow. Alright, so that is the quote-unquote official end of one of the games of GGM, and you can see on the corner there are a couple of quests still up. Probably I will polish off that one, and I am going to take another attempt at that, and just one final one. It might get me killed, but that's perfectly fine. But I did want to take this opportunity to kind of talk through some of my thoughts that I've had about the game. Now, the first thing that everyone has to understand is, look, this is, I believe, episode 48. I've done 48 of these. This totals probably around 50 hours. You don't do that for something that you don't love. This game is amazing. I think it is. I mean, there are a lot of auto battlers out there. I have played a lot of them, and genuinely, there are a lot of them that are very good. But I think this one is strategic on a level that not all of them can achieve. And the reason I know that is I have watched many friends, personal friends of mine, play this game, and I've watched many other people make videos and do it, and there are many opportunities to sort of optimize and make yourself do a little better that not everybody knows. And if you kind of put all of those pieces together, you can get really good at this. And I don't know about you guys, but that's the kind of thing that I can get quite a lot of satisfaction out of. So this is a game where, all things can matter. Which gladiators you choose to hire, which ones you develop, who you happen to put into a particular fight. All of those things, of course, are going to impact how the fights come out. But even bigger picture than that, whether you're winning your fights easily or by going down and spending gold and mana crystals to replenish, which is going to impact how you do later in the game, that is something that has to be accounted for. You can even have, like businesses have planned obsolescence. You can even plan for deaths if you know, hey, this fight is particularly dangerous, but I can arrange it so that I can focus all their damage on this guy. He is going to go down, but we are going to be able to make it through this fight with just one lost person. Just calculations like that can make a long-term impact. And, of course, the nitty-gritty details, the priorities that you can set, it is very important to learn how to do it. There are multiple sets of priorities. You can set it individually. You can set it by groups of people by holding down control. You also have to realize that there is sort of a general priority set in the upper left where you can tell a person to generally go after ranged first or support first or ignore fighters or go after fighters first if you are a tank, something like that. And if you do not like the tedium of setting individual priorities, you can just use that. But if you want, the individual priorities are there, and if you learn how to use them well, it is going to seriously amp up your game. You are going to be able to tackle larger groups with characters significantly higher level than you. That last arena, I mean, our guys are level roughly 16 to 22, and I'm killing level 85s pretty regularly. Like, there was a 75, 80, 85 in almost every fight, right? So this is a great game. And so the first thing I would suggest is, hey, stop listening to me talk about this and just get it for yourself. And I do want to take this opportunity to mention we live in a golden age of video game creation. is probably one of those really strange side effects of the COVID lockdowns, but a lot of games in the past few years have been incredible. I've been playing video games all my life. I happen to be a pretty picky person, and I have been wonderfully impressed over time. And another thing is, look, these games have gone down in price over time. I don't know how many of you remember paying 45 to 60 retail for that stupid Nintendo cartridge, but nowadays these games cost what, 20, 15, 10 sometimes, and some small indie people 5. Look, $5. That's a tip. That's not a cost of buying something. That's a tip. That's a thank you for your service kind of amount, right? And like $10, $15, that's a movie ticket. Movie ticket, 2 hours. You can watch a superhero beat up bad guys for 2 hours, or you can play this for a couple hundred, right? So uh, that's something. But that's enough of me singing its praises. I do have some thoughts as to what I would love to see, things that I think they could do. And so I do have a list of these things. Now, first on that list is the sort of the passage of time itself as the days go by. I do find that the events and sort of the regularity of the Ring of Death and the markets is a little too regular. I would like to see the discounts come a little sporadically. Maybe they come very quickly. Maybe they don't come at all. That can probably be something that is adjusted with the difficulty level. If you have in low difficulty, you see discounts all the time. And maybe they last for longer, giving you a chance to, get back into a fight and rip up some gold before you go back in there. And if it's a harder level, fewer and shorter discounts. I would love to see the timing offset. Maybe occasionally they're not tied to each other and you can see 2 discounts at the same time. So now you have to make the tough decision. Do I spend my hard-earned money on the gladiators, on the items? When you have them sort of spaced out with perfect regularity, it becomes too easy to spend your money on a schedule. Basically, it's almost like the game is budgeting for you. So I would like to see a little bit of a little bit of volatility there. Same thing with the events. Sometimes 2-3 events is pretty regular. They pop up at the same time. I would just like to see something in there that says, hey, if 2 or 3 events are scheduled to pop up, let's pop up the one that's most timely, or whatever, the one that is the easiest first, and let's scale back a day or 2 for the next one. And if you've had 2 in a row in 2 successive days, just maybe wait 2 days for the third one, something like that. Just space them out a little bit so it doesn't feel quite so hardcore rote, right? Like you don't want the bad guys to come on a schedule. You don't want to play a game like this and be like, all right, everyone get ready, the orcs are coming in 3 days, so get your stuff together. Like, that's not exciting. All right, number 2, specifically for the Ring of Death. Now, very early versions of this game had it so that you did have to complete all 4 elements of the Ring of Death before you can create new battle choices, versus the current system. I'm on version 1.036, where you can reset battle choices for a fee, and then after 1 fight, the fee reduces, and after 2 fights, the fee disappears. I do like that, but I do feel like it is allowing me to cheat the system a little when I do this constantly. I always get the 2 fights that I want, usually 2 fights that I want, and then I get to skip ahead and kind of fish for those. Perhaps a reward system for finishing all 4. So if you indeed cannot or do not want to take on the 1v1 or the 1v many, then you can, as current, say, hey, I'll skip it, pay nothing, wash all 4 of them. But if you keep going, if you complete all 4, then this refresh button will then come with a reward. Something like maybe 1 trait blueprint, which I find hard to get enough of, or maybe even give the player a choice: a trade blueprint, or a mana crystal, or a crafting tool. Now, not 1 mana crystal. It's got to be like 5. These things are way more valuable than 1 mana crystal. But in general, my idea holds. Some reward for finishing out all 4. That's all I'm saying. Next, in the arena fights themselves, I cannot enter one since it's not the end of the month. But I have noticed that in a lot of the arenas, and it's a little worse in some specific ones, the fights that are quote unquote randomly generated actually become very patterned, so that if you were to go through your 8 fights, it wouldn't be unusual to see 4 or 5 fights in one of the tiers, the green, blue, or purple tier, is essentially the same fight with just slight alterations to the actual roster. So knights instead of metal brutes, archers instead of venom mortar guys, something like that. And it makes it, well, of course it makes it repetitive, and we don't want to do that, but it makes it a little too easy to just, in terms of the player memory, to say, okay, I just did a fight that looks the same, so whatever strategy I employed before, I'm just going to do again. I don't even have to think about it. Maybe I have to make one tweak because something's different, but I'm just going to employ the same strategy before and it worked. I'm just going to do it again. So I'd like to see a little more variability, maybe a little tweak to whatever system generates the random elements. I'm not a designer myself, so I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who can come up with more creative ideas than I do. And finally, with regard to the combat of the game, let me see. Can I? No, I don't want to bring you into a fight just yet. But all of the battlefields are extremely similar. They are sometimes a little jagged here and there, but in essence, you are fighting in a giant elliptical, kind of just a cylinder oval shape. And I would love to see some sort of alteration to that. Now, I don't know, maybe instead of a straight line separating the two groups, maybe some sort of a jagged line going down the middle, or maybe some unusual bends in some places, or maybe even obstacles. Look, I'm not a programmer. I don't know if that would create some sort of pathing issue that would make the game worse, but if there were some obstacles, and then like you can occasionally hide an archer behind a giant log so that your man assassin, instead of just running straight through and ganking him, you have to like run around the stupid thing and approach him from behind. Something like that, I think, would add a lot of depth to the actual strategy itself. So I'm sure I'm not the first person who's thought of that, and I have no idea how hard or easy it is to program, but it is just simply one of those things I would love to see. Just saying. All right. Now, for the next set of thoughts that I have, the gladiators themselves. Now, a couple things. One, I would love to see a long-term solution to the occasional problem that these kinds of games come across, which is that you have all of these different types of gladiators. I think there were like 25 on the home screen. And look, it is a very difficult task to balance them all. It may not even be possible. This is the same problem you get with collectible card games, where you essentially have to design hundreds of cards for this game, and invariably some are going to come out too weak, some are going to come out too strong, and that's fine, but you do want to limit that to the best of your ability. So I am not here to suggest that some gladiators are too strong or too weak. I do have my opinions on those. I think if you had watched, you would know what those views are. But what I would love to see is some sort of a feedback system that could be employed to say, hey, we look at the player base, and during the past week, we have noticed that this gladiator gets used more often, or this gladiator does a disproportionate amount of damage, or this gladiator dies a lot, or dies too fast, or whatever. If there were some way in the programming to capture that information, and then periodically an update say, okay, gladiator type X has been doing gangbusters, we need to tone that ability down a little bit, and then over time you can kind of just incrementally tweak each one so that they each get closer and closer to the mid, and I think that would be tremendous. I think that would make for an amazing environment. That is something you cannot do with physical games like board games or card games, but it is something you can do with video games. At least I think it is. I would love to see that. Second, with regard to characters, all the healers that I'm aware of are intelligence based. Druid's intelligence, shaman's intelligence, cleric's intelligence. That makes some sense. in this magical world, healing is a magical power, and magic should be tied to intelligence. But for the sake of robustness, I would love to see a healer class that was not tied to intelligence. How would that work? I'm not sure. Maybe thematically a combat medic, right? Somebody who like runs around and I don't know, maybe you can see him like bandaging one of his teammates, like, and that's just the first thing I can think of. But again, more creative minds than mine, I'm sure, can do the work. I just think that if look, healing is necessary in a lot of the longer, harder fights. That's just the fact. And I think that if they're always intellect based, it just kind of constrains the player's ability to design their group a little bit. So, strength based healer, agility based healer, I don't know if it's possible, but I think it's cool to see. Next, a word on, I am generally not a fan of calling out overpowered and underpowered things. I feel like that's up to the players, and if it's in the game, it's usually fine. You can deal with it. But Absolute Guardian's Veil doesn't work as a game mechanic. You can see just the cliff that the difficulty of the game falls off of between the time I didn't have it and the time I got it. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, the first fight I did after I got Guardian's Veil was an absolute disaster. I think I lost like 9 out of 12 guys. But that was my fault. I didn't quite... I think that was after I got the second one, the level 18 knight. That was my fault. I didn't quite design him correctly to go along with the Guardian's Veil. But the point stands. After Guardian's Veil is available, you enter just this new era of invincibility that is not good. If you are good at figuring it out and you are not afraid to just do it, then you are going to be able to plow through the rest of the game once you acquire a level 18 tank. Doesn't even have to be a taunt tank. You can give it to a metal brute. Heck, I don't even know that it has to be a tank. You can just make one of your berserkers, just redesign them so you stack them full of health. That's all that it takes. This 100% can't be 100%. I would recommend something like 50% for 5 seconds at level 1. And then maybe 75% for 8 seconds at level 2. And then maybe finally 90% at 10 seconds for level 3. 100% is far too deterministic. It removes all uncertainty. For the first 10 seconds of the fight, or even just at the current tier 1, level 1, for the first 5 seconds of the fight, I know exactly what can and can't happen. I can plan around it with 100% precision. It is too powerful. So this thing has to be nerfed. Yeah, I stand by that. Okay. Alright, next. Bro. Equipment. We need pants. We've been doing all this without pants. I got a helmet. I got some trinkets. I got a chest armor. And by the way, it doesn't say full body armor. It says chest piece. It's a chest piece. I got gloves. I got boots on some guys. I got a shield. I got a necklace. I got a ring. I got a staff. I got no pants. Just saying. We're going around pantsless. Like, I want pants. And this is a small nitpick. I think that there isn't a huge variety in item stats. I'd like to see a little more variety. While I am absolutely in love with items like this, just give me the 56 points of strength, please, and let me bash someone's head in. And whoops, I put that on the wrong guy, didn't I? That's your item. Wasn't paying attention. Anyway, yeah, while I love this, anyone would. 56 points of strength, put it on your strength guy, bop someone's head in. I want to see a little more variety. Like, this does not make me think. I took it, I put it on him. Things like this, that makes me think. That doesn't just make me think. This gave me a headache thinking about it. Like, I've scratched my head trying to figure out what to do with these bows that give strength and agility. The answer is probably pretty simple. Just shove it on your archer. They can use agility. They can use strength. Most archers, by the end of the game, are going to have more than agility to have capped out their execution time. So they are not going to care whether it's strength or agility. But at least it made me think about it. You know, this doesn't make me think about it. I know what I'm going to do with that. I know what I'm going to do with that, even though it's only 4 points. But this thing, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with that. And those, I think there aren't any examples right now, but those swords, those hybrid swords that I keep throwing away because I don't know what to do with them, those are cool. Like, those items are what you want. You want players to have to make these hard decisions because people who play this kind of thing probably enjoy that anyway. All right, so more variety to the items I would love to see. And finally, a couple of very tiny things. Every once in a while, the text here doesn't match the dialogue. I'm going to assume the dialogue is far more difficult to change, so probably easier just to alter the text in-game to match the human's dialogue. And by the way, the voice acting is amazing. I love it. I've had a lot of fun kind of banding back and forth with these guys. The Slen character he's perfect. Like, tonality perfect. That guy makes me feel who he is. It's great. There are occasional typos, so every time you catch that, do something about it. And the final thing that I will say as kind of a wish list of mine is, and I do not know if other players are going to run into this, but what ended up happening a lot of times, and it is worse at the end of the game, is that the fights just kept getting shorter and shorter because the power level of what was in play kept escalating higher and higher. And again, I do not know if that is something that everyone is going to experience, but if it is, it would be nice to see that go the other way. Because if the fights are going to be this short, and even if they are, more than the 5 or 10 seconds, even if they go something like 15, the truth of the matter is, it is still what happens in the first 5 seconds that makes the biggest difference. If the first 5 seconds goes your way, you're going to have a good result, and vice versa. So I would love to see the gameplay altered in a way in which the early action of the fight itself weren't making that big an impact. Now, I'm not suggesting like a change to mana assassins. They thematically make sense. They are the stealth, rogue, backstabbing guys that pop out of nowhere and, murder someone on the first hit. That totally vibes with who they are. But again, the tactics are such that if the only thing I have to worry about is the first 5 or 10 seconds, then I'm going to be able to pigeonhole my strategy a lot more than if I had to make a consideration that, oh, well, hold on, I am going to survive the first 5 seconds. What on earth is going to happen after that? So I would love to see something, and I will be the first to admit, I have no idea what that kind of modification looks like. I'm not a particularly creative person, but I think that if that ends up happening, that would just send this game to a whole nother level. I think it would make the fights so incredibly robust that, honestly, people who play it would probably end up thinking about it later and describing it to their friends as a story. Like, oh my god, let me tell you about what happened in this fight. Like the way some of my PvP fights back in the really old days of World of Warcraft, there are some moments in some of those PvP fights that I can still remember to this day. Like, they have that much of an impact, and I think this has the potential for that. Well, anyway, that's enough from me. Let's go ahead and see if we can polish off 1 or 2 more things.
An insect nest was
sign off.
spotted in the swamps. This is the final big catch that the hunter needs from us.
All right, let's give it a shot. Got a bunch of tanky scarabs, as well as, what is that, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 invisibility guys. Let's do it. Oh my god, they're all in the back. All right. Hold my beer tank. Get in my belly. We're gonna need these. How much armor did you have? 60% against projectile. Boo. Boo. You guys don't have any armor, I believe. Little dodge, poison, and stealth attack. Okay. Necessary. Necessary. Necessary to cast things to gum up the works. And necessary to... I did not notice that's a level 76. Scary bug. Scary bug. That is the big thing at the end of Starship Troopers where that's the bug that Rico has to kill. Who else? Who else? You are AoE. Guardian's Veil. Save our Stormbringer from dying an early death, please. I think I'm going to have a second layer tank to catch anybody who slips through the front line. And then we are going to need some healers. No way around that. Melee and projectile. Oh my god. So, Fireballer. You're going to cast Root. You're going to terror him. I wish there were a way to have you like root him after the terror takes effect. You know what? Stay away from Scary Bug, both of you. Step a little bit to the north. Everyone else, ignore Scary Bug. I don't want you fighting him. I don't want you targeting him. I don't want you guys doing anything to him. And finally, well, we gotta use them because they are our main DPS. Not much we can do about it. All we can do is tell them, don't kill him, don't kill him. Kinda kill him, don't kill him. Oh, two of you back here, I didn't see. Let me see if they're low level. I think they're low level. 18, 18, yeah, they're low level. 10 guys, I did not tell you guys to avoid him. He should be neutral. Just go by position. Here we go. Don't kill me now. Oh, look at that. Nice job. Alright, we do have a couple stealthers breaking through. Not much we can do about that. Fireball coming in. Level 76. The terror is over. But he changed his mind on where to go. Hope it wasn't because one of my guys died. He's going after the tank. Didn't seem to do much to the tank. We do have the we do have the Dark Mage kiting a level 18 bug over here. I have no idea what's up with the Dark Mage running around like this. This is so strange to me. I don't know what they do. Is that part of their programming? 18. That's not that much. Oh my god, this guy. There was a level 80. I didn't see him. I would have emphasized him. I didn't even see he was in there. Did we lose anyone? Oh my god, Guardian Veil is just too strong. Didn't even lose anyone.
Good job, lad! The hunters had time to recover while your gladiators did their work.
Alright, glad to be of service. Give me my money. Alright, and finally, one last try. Everybody's alive, so we do not have an excuse. One and only one try. Winner takes all.
There are even more of those stone golems in the tower. Where the blight are they coming from?
We're not even going to get any reputation from her. I think 1200 we're capped. We'll try one last time, milady, because this will be the last time I'm really nice to you. 6 of them back there, 5 of them in the front. If I remember correctly, we tried it this way last time. This guy doesn't have the hit points for it. This guy has a ton of hit points for it. I don't actually think this guy's going to survive all the damage. I think he'll just die. So we are going to need to do this. We are going to need to use their invincibility in the beginning. They reduce damage from all attacks equally. All attacks equally, so again, functionally they have 2.5 times their listed hit points. 25,000 for these guys in the back. 15,000 or so for this guy, and Yeah, the AoE makes sense still. I don't think he's going to make sense. They're not going to die fast enough. And one terror isn't going to do anything, so not him. Can they be knocked down? I actually remember this exact conversation before. I asked the same question earlier. Oh, I'll be honest, I kind of want Hold My Beer guy in this fight too. Oh, this is so hard. I have no idea whether this is going to work. I actually don't think it is. We're going to have the DPSers. Oh, and it's only 9, not 10. I was actually counting this based on 10 to have 2 tanks, but we're not going to have 2 tanks. Alright, finally, let's do one last desperate thing. Is anyone using a really high impact item? That we can give? The answer is yes. Oh my god. 440 agility. Oh, that's why you are wearing this. Oh, that's a manager fail. Yep, I took it off of you and never put it back. I also put it on, I want to say you. I say incorrectly. Where is the second invincibility trinket? Looks like a little golden diamond thing. Rhino has one. You should have one. Oh, I put it on you? Oh no, you two shift it. Oh, I hate that. Dang it, quit that. I'm glad I tested. That's the Hold the Beer guy. That's the wrong guy. That would have been a disaster. Okay, so right, so fine. You are invincible. You are invincible, just like you should be. I don't know if that caused us any problems in an earlier fight. No idea. You grab those two. You grab these guys. You go after those 6. You guys, I don't know, do whatever you can. And you guys, again, I don't know that your arrows are gonna get through. The rocks they throw do have AoE, so we do indeed need to spread out. Here we go. Oh, so scary. All of those going back, they're gonna kick our butts. Knockdowns all over the place. And we don't have a tank back here because, like I said, I did kind of want to hold your beer guy, but they're not quite compact enough for the fireballs to have the maximum impact. We do have people running around like chickens with their head cut off. We've got a couple things down. I think things are tilting in our favor. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot going wrong right now, but we did get all the most important things down, and we still have enough tanks. Oh, this fight was so hard. Oh my god. I hate these things. These are so hard. No, seriously, this fight is great. I love this fight. My protests are mostly because I enjoy winning too much, but at the end of the day, this is an amazing fight. We had to plan really hard to get every aspect of that down. And I'm not kidding. If we had that wrong drummer boy tank in there, if I had put Hold My Beer, like the structure of that whole fight would have just gone crazy, and we would have lost control of everything. Not bad. Only him? We lost only the Dark Mage? Oh no, both the priests. Yeah, that makes sense. They're not tanky enough to handle a fight of that length. Alright. Well, that'll be it.
There are speculations that the stone golems did not enter the tower, but that they were in here a long time prior. The guards didn't see anything at the entrances. I'll have them inspect the whole building.
Alright. You go ahead and do that. Oops. Take that. All right. That'll be it. Let's go ahead and tell Slen that we're done.
Congratulations, lad! You finished the last championship arena! You can continue playing if you want to finish up side quests or replay arenas, but once you're done with this playthrough, let me know, and we'll look at the results of your actions in Deadwoods.
I believe we're done. Let's rack it up.
Sure, lad. Your loyalty was to the law of Deadwoods, which means to the Baroness. Let's see how your help influenced her plans for the region. The remaining members of the Dwarven Union allowed the Baroness to acquire their latest and most advanced technology.
Oh,
Using the river trade route as a cover, she secretly mined large quantities of mana crystals, substantially increasing the kingdom's treasury.
that's good, right?
This quickly earned her a fourth-place seat on the High Council. Thanks to the Baroness's deception, the Deadwoods region would be renamed the Mana Bay within a few years. Once in power, the Baroness made many compromises to maintain peace with the Tyrell Kingdom. However, these deals would lead to a decline in the kingdom's economy, making the average peasant poorer than ever.
A sentiment we are all too familiar with.
The increased mining activity resulted in a rise in crimson mist throughout the Deadwoods, rendering the region dangerous and teeming with wild undead. Despite this, the Baroness's influence as a member of the High Council enabled her to keep the mines operating at full capacity. For the average Ondarian peasant, life was challenging, especially in the former Deadwoods, now filled with undead. Nevertheless, the war was averted, saving thousands of lives and ensuring the kingdom's safety. Over time, peace was maintained, and the economy grew, offering hope for a brighter future for all. During these times, gladiator games were a very popular distraction, and as the economy improved, profits rose. Blood sports are a profitable business in this kind of environment and time.
Well, and thus we are concluded. So, thank you if you are one of the very few people who have been able to catch all of these the whole way. I hope you have enjoyed your time, and I hope you guys learned something, got some ideas, and I will just say at the end of the day, I reiterate, if you are not, go ahead and get and play this game. It will be worth it. That is all for now, and I will see you guys in some future video.